Hey guys, so I'm going to show you how to make the realistic part of your um, realism, abstraction, not objective project. I'm also going to show you how to use the oil pastels to the best of your um, advantage. So I picked a toucan because it's very colorful, and I think the oil pastels will be great for capturing those bright, vibrant colors. Um, if you're drawing and coloring an object that has neutral colors, there are ways you can get neutral tones with these bright colors, but it's definitely really easy to capture some bright, saturated colors if you have an object or animal like this. So I want to take up the whole page, okay? So I don't want to see a tiny little drawing in the center of the page. I want to see the whole page being taken up. So my toucan is going to be, I'm going to start with the beak, and I'm just very lightly sketching to map out my shapes. It's a big curved triangle for the top beak. And the bottom piece is a very narrow, still curved triangle. And they come together. And the head slopes down, and the body is this big shape here. And when you draw on your pencil first, which you should always do before coloring, draw very lightly so that you can color over your pencil and you don't have to worry about the pencil showing through so much. You know, I'm hardly putting any pencil down, like I'm skipping a lot of parts, right? I'm leaving my outline very open and airy. And when you sketch anything, you should do that. You should leave your lines open because it helps you capture the shape of things more easily, I think. It's a little bit more forgiving. Like if you mess up, then you can erase, and you don't have as much to erase. You just get a sense of the shape more quickly if you skip around and draw everything kind of at the same time, right? Develop it all at the same time. Right, I'm not drawing every single detail. I know that he has two claws or talons. I'm not necessarily adding them yet because I don't know if it's going to look accurate until I finish. And I have this leafy branch that I'm not going to make too detailed for now. And that will go down this way. And his tail. Okay, so it's the whole size of my paper. I just have this bit up here that I could maybe fill with color or something. So now I'm going to start. I'm going to start on the left and the top part of my page because when I use oil pastels, they rub and blend. So I don't want to be rubbing my wrist on colors that I've colored here when I need to color up here, right? So I'm going to go in this order. I'm going to start over here and move down this way. Another technique you can use is taking a scrap piece of paper, and when you're ready to, if you've colored here already and you want to go back up here, you can put a paper down so that your hand is not leaning on those colors, right? And it's not smudging anything that you've worked hard on. So I'm going to start with my green, because that's the most color I see on the beak. And I'm going to start with a lighter green. There are different tones of green in this beak. There are lighter greens and darker greens, right? Those are different values. There's also a little bit of yellow at the very top edge of the beak. So I'm actually going to start with my lightest color, which would be yellow. So I'm going to start at the top, and I'm going to erase a little bit of my pencil line. I have to find my eraser. Here it is. A little bit of this dark pencil, because I'm going to put a light color there. So I just want a very general outline, which I have. And I'm going to color almost the whole top of my beak yellow, because it looks like it's outlined. And then I'm going to bring this yellow down a little bit. And the tip of the beak is red, this dark, rich red. And it does have a little bit of yellow, a little bit of orange on the edge. So I'm going to keep that yellow here. I'm going to draw it into that part a little bit. And just play around before you even start on your own. Play around with these pastels, because I want you to get a sense for how they work, right? You can use your finger, make sure your finger's clean. You can smudge them, and once I add another color, you'll see that better. But they blend really nicely. I'm going to do some on the edge over here, too. And I'm not erasing this dark line because I know that there's going to be black there. And so I have to be careful when I'm smudging. I'm seeing that my camera's in my way. I'm seeing that my pencil is a little bit blending and mixing in with my yellow, so I don't want that. I don't want it to get all muddy. So be very careful if you are blending in your drawing that you do not have pencil mixed in with your oil pastel. Notice again how I have a very minimal outline, and it will not interfere with my bright colors. Now I'm very lightly going in with my light green, so that's my next lightest color. Right, if you compare, we have two greens here. This is lighter in value, and this is darker in value, right? So if I can actually show you on my phone, which is here. If I take a photo and edit, it's a little blurry, it's okay. So I've taken a picture of these two colors in this position, and look how much lighter, it's a little bit altered on this camera, but look how much lighter this green is than that green. Okay, so not only is it a slightly different hue, meaning like the color itself is slightly different, but the value is very different. So that's that. And so I'm going to continue this green. And I'm going to block out the shape of the orange and the red so that I don't go past those shapes. So I'm going to go over here. And you can do this in pencil really lightly if you want. I'm going to do it in my oil pastel. And this green comes all the way down to the edge of the beak. All the way to this edge. And I have the tendency to wipe away my shavings, my eraser shavings or crayon shavings, so try to resist that, because when you do, sometimes it smudges across your paper. You don't want that. Just be cautious of that. So you don't have to press very hard to get a good color down on this with oil pastels. So that's the fun thing about them. You don't have to work hard to color, which I like because I like the easy way out, as I'm sure many of you do. You can blow off the shavings, you can gently take them off, and you can take your finger and now blend any colors you have together. You can go back over your yellow and blend this down even more. And I just pressed some shavings into my drawing, so it made it a slightly darker patch. Now I'm going to take my darker green and very lightly go over the places where it's darker in value. It's not too much darker. But whatever object you have, it's likely that there is some variation in color, and well, at least I hope there is. So I don't want you to just color one solid flat shape for your realistic object. I want you to really focus on capturing the accurate colors that are in your object or animal or person. Which is why I'm showing you this video, because I'm hoping you'll be able to use these techniques as well. Okay, now I'm going to do the bottom beak. I'll do some yellow first. I'm going to go right over this yellow. I don't really think it's that necessary to smudge. If you can get away with not smudging, maybe that might be the best way to do it. And then it starts to get blue. Okay, so moving on to my blue, blending this blue in, beautiful greenish color. Look at here. Now, I could probably, I don't know. I wonder if I put white over this, if it would make it. I don't think I want to take away the vibrancy of it though. So if you put white over your colors, it will make them probably a little lighter. I can try it. But it will take away a little bit of the saturation, right? Look how, I mean, I don't know if that's very evident in the video, but kind of takes away, it makes it a little bit duller, even though it's making it lighter. So I don't want to do that. I'm going to layer more blue over it, and it should be fine and cover up, which is, again, the great thing about oil pastels. Okay, and then I'm going to move on to my orange, because I have orange on the top of this lower beak and then orange under here, and it's the lighter form of red, right? So I have this orange, I have red, and then I have this really dark brownish rusty color. So this I'll reserve for, as well as this, I'll reserve, oh, this is like purple, I can use that, for the darker part of the beak. I'm going to start with my orange. Actually, I'm going to start with yellow, because that is the lightest part of orange, right? Because you get orange by mixing red with yellow. So I'm going to start with my yellow and bring it over this way, down here. And so what this is doing by adding yellow is making the orange more luminous, right? Luminous is like light and vibrant. And if I mix my orange with my green, it will make a muddy-ish color, so I don't really want to do that. And look at that beautiful bright orange. I love color. Right, you can see as I wipe away the color or the shavings, well, it's not really, again, it's not really that evident here, but it's a little smudgy on my white paper, so I don't want to do that so much. And now take my red, add center. I don't want it to taint my blue. Just fixing the shape. Okay, now I'm going to go in with my yellow here. So when I have two colors that oppose each other, which is oranges and greens, right? Orange, reds, yellows, not yellows, oranges and reds versus greens and blues, they oppose each other, right? They're opposites on the color wheel. So yellow is a common color that both green and orange have in common. Right, and red also works well with green. So I'm going to use this yellow as like a medium between the green and the orange. So I can, any white spots that I have between them, I can use this yellow as like a blend between those two colors. I guess, I wonder if a paintbrush would be good to wipe away these flakes. Not so much. Just make sure the tip of your pastel does not have any of the other colors on it, and then you can go in between and blend them a little bit. I'm going to go back into here. Take my darker red. Then I have my dark color. Let's see what this does. Purple. Purple does nice things on red. It's kind of making it darker. And then I have, oh, I have to add some of that down here. You just want to be careful with layering the oil pastels. If you're pressing really hard, it will kind of carve through the layers that you already have down. So you don't want to press super hard when you're layering them. I'm going to use my dark green and add those stripy things on the beak. And finally, I will add my black stripe. And now my black isn't just pure black. Blacks and whites are never truly pure black and white. They always reflect. Especially on, and maybe not always, but especially on animals and clothing, right? Fabrics, fur, reflective material, obviously. And you know, I would actually, now in hindsight, would have done the black after I finish this yellow. But since I'm already here, I'm going to go over the black now in a little bit of white for the reflection up there. And I'm not even going to add anything else. I'm just going to leave it kind of chunky like that. And now I'm going to add my yellow, this bright yellow. Make sure there's no orange or other colors on your pastel. And see how you can see through my yellow. So I'm going to add some gray there anyway. So I'm not going to worry too much about it. But if you're not adding anything on top of yellow and you're having yellow go on top of pencil, make sure you erase the pencil before you add the yellow. Like there. Like I should have erased that. But I didn't. And I'll just blend a color into it probably. And so drawing less saves you work in the long run. So you don't have to erase so much. If you have a paintbrush in your, I don't think they give you paintbrushes in your kit, but if you have one at home, you can use a brush to gently wipe away the little shavings. I'm going to go into this green which surrounds the eye. I'm going to go very carefully around the black. Very carefully. Because I'm going to go over the yellow with my green since it's very light. And gently, carefully wipe away or pick up the shavings from your oil pastel. And now I'm going to go in with some green, go around the eye. And some green under here, some green around here. I'm going to add a little bit of white here. It's a little bit lighter. And now the, you can also do that. The direction and the texture of the toucan, the chest of the toucan, is different than the beak. So my mark making will be slightly different. The edge of this yellow chest and neck and head is a little bit bumpy, so I'm going to use my black and outline it with a rougher edge, different type of mark making. I'm also, before I'm going to add my black, like I said before, black is never truly black and white is never truly white, so I'm going to add some lighter colors into my body before I go in with black. So I see red. I see a red reflection here, see a little bit of white and blue, and red down here. And a little bit of red there. So I'm going to go in. And it's not super vibrant, so I'm going to add my red. Actually, let's try this rusty color. Yeah, I like that so much better. Okay. And I'm going to go over this with my black so that it's not going to be super vibrant. Because you might be wondering, like, I don't see the red, I don't know what you're talking about, but it's there. It's very subtle. I'm sure it's more evident down here. A little bit more red around here. And some, give it some blue. Because black would be so boring if it were just completely flat black, right? You have to give it some dimension, and you do that with color. So his fur or feathers are smooth, so I'm not going to give them so much texture. And over this, over the colors I've added, I'm going to go lightly. And I'm going to blend them a little bit together. Right, so they're turning a little grayish, and that's okay. I want them to be subtle. Okay, so here's a better example of blending the colors together. Again, I'm pressing really lightly, really lightly. Right, see how you don't even have to color the whole thing? Kind of smooth it out a little bit. It becomes a little bit blurry, kind of a cool look. Your hands will get a little bit dirty if you're blending. I'm getting right up to the edge. I'm leaving a little bit of white space so that I don't get too close, and I'm getting right up to the edge of my color, my yellow. And I have the texture of my desk underneath my paper. I don't think you'll have textures underneath yours. But either way, it smooths in. So your hand's a little bit dirty. It's okay. I'm going to zoom out. And I'm going to add my black to my eye. Again, not pure black, it has some white in it. It's a highlight. And I'm going to use my white to blend and highlight there. And going back in with my black. And I'm also going to go in with some darker green. Oops, that has red on it. Need to be careful. And now what I'm going to do is take a little bit of white. Go see how my white just goes right over the black. Just highlighting the edge of the foot there. And then we have blue. Not the exact blue that I have, but that's okay. And my toes or my talons come out like that. They're lighter at the edges there. I'm going to leave some white there so I can blend in a white over it. So again, doesn't make it bright white, but it does do something. And then I have my tail. And then after I do my tail, I'm going to, actually before I do my tail, I'm going to add leaves to the branch. I'm going to start with my light green. And I'm going to actually color this whole thing green. And I'm going to go over it with darker colors, with texture and different shapes, because it will all cover over the screen, right? So instead of going over all of this with brown, like you would imagine a branch to be, that's not the, like I only have a little bit of brown in here, so, and my brown will cover this lighter green. So I'll show you just like as a preview what I mean. If I take a rusty color, I have purple and, well, I don't have a dark brown, so I'm going to take this rust And this is going to go over here, and down here, and down here. And I can even take a little bit of black and go over it a little, make it darker. And so those parts are going to be brown, where the leaves kind of break and show the branch through it. That's where I'm going to color brown. And so I'm coloring this whole thing green so it takes less time, right? I'm not going to draw every individual leaf yet. And even after, I won't draw every individual leaf, really. And now I'll go in with my darker green and give some texture. So now I've drawn my leaves, I can go into little individual leaves and give like a shadow underneath it, make it look like the branch is coming through, just like in the photo. And I'll probably leave it like that. And then I'll do my tail, which I'm going to do all black, and I'm going to add a little bit of white into. Alright, so before you blend, there's a lot of white spots, maybe texture of the paper, spots you miss. So you use your finger to blend in that solid dark color. And you use white to draw some texture. The feather. Maybe a little bit of yellow. Yellow's not as noticeable. Blue, give it a little bit of blue. Again, not super noticeable. The white stands out the most on the black. And then I can do my background. I have a darker blue I can go under my toes with. So your realistic image should just look as close to your image as possible. you know, have fun with it, have fun with the colors. And again, I'm going to color the background as well. I'll give it some fun colors, but I'm not going to color the entire paper. I don't expect you to fill the entire paper, but I do want most of it to be covered in design, object, something, okay? Excited to see what you guys make, and I hope you guys like this medium of oil pastels.